everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Alumni Chats podcast, where I interview alumni from the Broadcasting and Journalism Department at Western Illinois University. My name is Dr. Buzz Hoon, and I've taught in the department for 30 years. I will be serving as host for this project, and today I have the honor of speaking with Marissa Harris Isang. Marissa, did I get that right?
Isang.
Isang. Now, you were from the class of 2007, and it just seemed like it was yesterday.
It does seem like it was yesterday. I'm going to pretend like it was yesterday, and you didn't just date me that far behind. But yeah, it's the class of 2007.
Wow. And, can you update everyone and what are you doing now? And then we'll kind of go back and catch up on what happened after WIU.
Now I am the special projects producer for WLS-TV in Chicago. Special projects encompasses a lot of things, of course. But my most recent project was with National Geographic. So WLS is owned by Disney as a parent company. Nat Geo is owned by Disney as well. And we did a partnership in regards to a story on the Great Lakes. So I did a 5-part streaming episodic series kind of a thing on issues impacting the Great Lakes. So that's a whole nother, of course, world that TV is going into now. So that's all just streaming only, but usually I handle the big brands for the station. So that includes our tent poles, like we have our big blood drive every year, and that includes on-air content, digital content, and a live event. We do Chicago Proud, which is our all year long 24/7, 365 kind of pieces of content on positivity in Chicago. And then I do like a lot of our holiday tent poles that include our holiday drives, food drives, all that has become virtual. So I do a lot of different avenues when it comes to special projects. So special just means it's not a day turn.
And you had when I look over your career, you've had so much experience doing just a number of different things. Can you kind of talk a little bit about your journey?
If there was a job opening, I took it. Fresh out. That's just how it was. So I went to high school in Rockford. I got my associate's degree in Rockford. That's where my mom still currently lives. So when I left school, that was the best place for me to get started. So my first job, even before my first job that summer, I took a freelance writing gig for the Rockford Register-Star to do entertainment writing. So, and that was just like, what's going on this weekend and things of that nature. It did not pay. I just did it to keep my writing skills in place.
Yep.
I actually interviewed for a producer job that I was told no to. So I should say that. There's a morning overnight producer job opened at WTVO, the ABC Fox duopoly in Rockford. And I interviewed with I still remember his name, Kent Harrell. I interviewed Kent Harrell for the job. And he told me he felt like I needed a little more experience and that I wasn't ready for it. So a month later, I interviewed at WREX, which is just next door, the NBC affiliate in Rockford. And I was hired for a job directing. Now, director MCO, I should be specific. Now, the reason why I got that job is because of Buzz's sports class. Every weekend, every Saturday while everybody else was tailgating, I was helping Buzz with the sports team set up a live truck and live punch and call games. So that class got me my first job. I knew I wanted to be a producer, but I needed a job to even get there. So I did the morning show for WREX for about a year, live calling and punching. And then I used to also shoot video for them for the Pro-Am every year. So that was a lot of fun. I don't like golf, but it was fun shooting it nonetheless. And then as the year came to an end, a job across the street at WIFR, the CBS affiliate in Rockford, opened up for a morning producer job. That news director, Dave Smith is his name. He hired me on. and gave me a chance. So that was my first shot. It was literally a news director just giving me a chance. I kind of like, it's like, I'm from the area. I know I can do it. I've been watching Aaron and Andy are the anchors of that show. I've been watching them for a long time. I understand the concept of the show. So he gave me a chance. So I went from the mornings there, and then I moved from mornings to the 5, where at 5 o'clock you were the web editor and the 5 o'clock producer. So that's when I learned, that's when, the world of news is really starting to get into digital. I sound so old saying that, but we're really moving from TV into the web more so. So I used to take all of my content from on air and put it online after the shows, and I would put any content from the noon show online as well. I actually did online stuff and then started producing my 5 o'clock that I also edited all the content besides reporter packages for that show. So when you say do a little of everything, it's do a little of everything. From there, I made the jump from Rockford to Milwaukee. And I went from doing Dayside 5 to doing overnights again. I did their morning show for 3.5 years. And that's the Hearst station in Milwaukee. There's still a powerhouse up there. Anybody looking in Milwaukee, that's the place to be. And I did the overnight for 3 years there. And then I was like fully ready to come home. Chicago was where I was born. So that's what I was gunning for. I remember telling my news director, he was like, Marissa, you need to resign your contract. I was like, no, I really want to go home. And he was like, I can't, you need to be on it. We have, we have rules. You have to be on a contract. I was like, well, I'm just not going to do it because I want to go home.
Oh my.
Yeah. He looked at me and I was crazy. He's like, you only have 30 days. I'm going to have to post your job. And I was just like, all right, you're going to have to post my job because I'm not signing on for another 2 years to be in Milwaukee. I just can't do it anymore. I want to go home. A week later, I got the job at Fox Chicago. And I was so glad. I was so glad I didn't sign it because I knew I had been on interviews and all that kind of stuff. A week later, I got the job at Fox Chicago. I did the mornings there for about a year. And then I jumped from Fox Chicago to WGN. I did WGN morning show, which is still a huge #1 show, like the most watched show in the mornings in the city. And then it was at GM where I started to get away from line producing and into special projects pieces. I started doing segment producing and booking stories and going out with the crew to do all that kind of stuff. And that experience got me the job that I have now to fully producing special projects and things of that nature. So it's been quite the journey. I've had several different roles. I've had several news directors shake their head at me because I drove them crazy. The best story is my news director in Rockford before I went to Milwaukee. She called him and she said, tell me one thing about Marissa. And he told her, no matter whether you ask or not, she's going to give you her opinion. So I don't know if it's good and bad, whatever, but that was the one thing he told her, and she hired me anyway. So there's that.
Well, and I think we were kind of talking beforehand, and I said, my memory of you is that, when we did the sporting events and I needed somebody to be TD, you were there. You never shied away from any of that responsibility. Every game you were ready to go, never complained about it. You had no fear. And that's, a lot of people have to be pushed into that and slowly work into that. That's okay. But you were ready to go.
I'm not really, I'm still a risk taker to this day. So I think it's just in my DNA. And I feel like in this business, you have to have a little bit of risk because it's a lot of job changes. And for some people, I actually didn't move far. Rockford, Milwaukee, Chicago, they're all in like a little triangle. But a lot of people are moving across the country where they don't know anybody and moving into cities that they've never heard of, no one else thought they would live in. So you got to have a little bit of risk taker in you going into this job, especially now as it continues to change. So I guess you just got to try.
So I'm sure that there's always things that people love about their job and things that they don't look forward to as much. So tell me a little bit about what you love about your job.
What I love about my job, like even now, like I get to create concepts from start to finish. So what I love about my job right now, especially like I'm in the middle of preparing for Black History Month. I came up with a plan and a concept and a pitch, and either sometimes it's not always a yes, I'll say that. But I get to like come up with an idea and create an entire content plan and then do it. I'm rarely told no, because I'm very, so when I create these plans, I get to know my news directors well enough. Like, these are the questions he or she is going to ask about this plan. So I try to navigate my way past it. Like, I have an answer for it and how I can do it and how I can accomplish it under these resources and finish it. So then they'll say yes faster. So that's like my favorite part, is coming up with an idea and then finally like sitting back and like watching it. Like, I'm probably weird. I don't know if other people do this. I loved back when I was in an office to sit in my office and watch what I did on air. And it's like, oh, I did that. I started playing for that however long ago, and there it is. So that's the favorite part of my job, is just coming up with an idea and then finally seeing it on air is just, especially like we're in Chicago, we have a lot of legacy anchors, and these are anchors that I grew up watching. And it's like, they are telling the story that I did. I wrote it, I did it, and they're reading the story that I did. There it is. Great. So that's my favorite part of my job.
And I'm sure for those young people that haven't experienced what it's like to be a media professional, what's some of the down parts? You've talked a little bit about maybe trying to get your foot in the door, prove yourself.
The down parts are, definitely getting the door is hard. I think and I feel not bad, but you're just going to need a little extra gumption this next generation. Getting your foot in the door. Jack of all trades and master of none is key. You may have something that you specialize in that you just happen to be really good at, but you need to know a little bit of everything. And sometimes that's really hard, because especially as you get older, like now I'm married, I have 2 kids, and you're trying to keep up with everything. But coming out fresh out, there's a lot of places are looking for somebody who can write, who can shoot, who can edit, who can do it all, and do it all for a bang for your buck kind of a thing. So you're going to have to push when it comes to negotiating contracts. You're going to have to push when it comes to kind of putting a line in the sand. Even as a single young person out of college, like, you want to build a life, and you don't want to work overnights for the next 9 years. You want to get paid enough where you don't, because my first job, I'll tell you now, my first job as a director, I bartended roller derby on the weekends, of all things. You don't want to have to bartend roller derby on the weekends. Like, you want to be able to do your craft and do it, and that's your focus. So that's the hard part about this business. It's evolving and changing. And as it evolves and changes, you have to either be able to roll the punches, go with the flow, or find your niche that you can like use to build off of. So, I mean, prime example now, like, everything is moving into streaming, and I'm the first person at the station that got the chance to like jump in it and do a streaming series and do it. And I volunteered because a lot of people were afraid to volunteer because they're like, I don't get it. I don't know how this is going to work. I see that's the way everything is going. I need to drive in that direction.
Drive into it.
Yeah, I'm nowhere near retirement, so I need to go where it's going. So that's the hard part, is pivoting. So my biggest advice when it comes to the changes in the business is try quickly, fail fast, and pivot into whatever else you're going to do. Don't be afraid to try it. Don't be afraid to fail. Just know that didn't work, pivot to the next thing. It is what it is.
So let's do a little going back in time here to WIU and back to being in MACOM. And tell me what you remember about being in MACOM. Is it, did you have some friends that you hung out with? Do you remember being parts of other groups, organizations?
So I remember when I first started there, it was called New Hall. I think the name is Grody now.
Mm-hmm.
It was brand new. Nobody had like lived in it. So that was the biggest thing. Like I'm moving into this brand new dorm. And it's not dirty and it's untouched by anybody. Like that was a big deal. It was I was in a suite. It was myself, my roommate, and then the girl next door had a single, and we shared a bathroom. So that was a big deal to have that kind of a setup. I also remember hating the hill that led to St. Lee, especially if I had the big camera case tank, which I'm sure they don't have that anymore because cameras are a lot smaller now, and they don't have the big hard cases. Ugh. I just remember dragging that thing up a hill in the snow and like commiserating every step of the way, thinking, is this what I really want to do with my life?
That tripod case and the camera case had broken many a spirit.
Oh, gosh, I was like, this is not it for me. I remember being in the edit bays probably past time. The building would be closed and we would just try to like turn out the lights and like maybe nobody will notice we're in there so we could finish. We could finish whatever we're doing because we had a deadline and we were way behind. I remember I was part of BSA, a Black Students Association on campus, and then I pledged Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, a historically Black sorority on campus. So I had that. And then I just had my friends who were outside of that. We spent way too much time at the Pace. I don't even know if it's still there.
Of course.
We spent a lot of Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays at the Pace. Fridays, I didn't usually get to go a lot because I had to wake up early on Saturday to go and get ready for the games. But definitely Thursdays was a great night. It was like dollar drink night. That was great. The Forum was one that we used to hang out a lot at. And then we did a lot of hangout dorm parties because I moved to Link Wash after I left. Then with New Hall, I moved to Link Wash because I wanted a single. I wanted to be by myself. I did not want to share a room with anybody else. I was only on campus for 2 years because I came in with an associate's degree. I was a transfer student. So I didn't have to take all the gen eds that everybody else took and all that kind of stuff. When I came in, I was in the broadcast journalism route, and those were without a few elective, but those are all my core classes. I remember having a newspaper writing class that I hated because it was at like 7:30 in the morning. And I was like, who thought this was a good idea? It was like the worst thing ever. I was never on time, ever, for it. I hated it. Mind you, I didn't want to be in newspaper, but it was just one of those things that was like in the prerequisites or whatever at the time. I was like, it's early in the morning. I don't want to do this. This is really boring. I hate it here. But that class helped me with my writing more than anything else. So even though I hated it, it was worth it.
Funny, isn't it, that sometimes you go through something like that and then it's like, well, I'm glad I had that experience.
I mean, when I started producing, I was just like, oh, all it it's just flooding back to me, all the your P's and Q's and writing and AP style and all that kind of stuff. So I hated it, but it's worth it. So if they still have the class, take it. I roll my eyes, but take it. It's worth it in the long run. But no, I enjoyed my time at Western. I felt short because I was a transfer student, so it felt short. But it was definitely great memories had. Like I didn't want to I wanted to graduate, but I didn't want to leave when it was time to go. I really didn't want to leave. I got the full. I feel bad for now, COVID and everybody's online. Like the on-campus experience is like nothing else. Once everything goes back to normal, I hope some people still get the chance to do that and all that kind of stuff. But being on campus was everything. You get to know, well, Roger's retired now, but you get to know your professors, you get to know Roger and Buzz and the whole gang. And it was a tight unit just because there wasn't that many of us.
Right. Yeah. And that's one of the things that I hope, and certainly I hope that our students get a chance to watch some of these, because it really is about the relationships and connections you can make at that period of time that shape you into who you are. And then you go out and you meet other people and you have other relationships, of course, and grow even more. But it's that period of time that even as I remember back, I think I think the sports crew, we all had to wear polos. I don't know if you remember the purple polos. And so
they're terrible. I looked like Barney. I hated it.
It brings back those fond memories of wearing purple polos to check out equipment or work on the sports crew. So,
yeah, because initially I thought in my mind, I was going to be one of the very few female sports directors and for like the NFL. That's what I thought I was going to do for a long time. And then after having to work every weekend on the sports truck, I was like, no. I don't know if I want to do this every weekend because the NFL is on Sundays. I'm like, I don't know if that's what I want to do. But you just find that you can figure your way out, which avenue you want to take before you even leave those hallowed halls. You can figure it out. Because I tried a lot of things. I loved the sports class, but I just knew I was like, I'm not doing this for the rest of my life. And like, you have to practice being a reporter. I was like, yeah, I could be a reporter. I love to talk. And then I put myself on camera. I'm like, no, this is bad. This is very bad. I do not want to be a reporter. And then, shooting, I was never great at it. And I hated carrying the camera. So no, that was not my thing. But then when I finally started taking the producing classes, I was like, here we are. I get to make decisions. I get to, create a path for this. Like, then I found like, this is it. This is where I am. But yeah, you do everything. Like, don't try to weasel out of it. Do everything. And had a radio show with Kara Geist. I don't know what her married last name is. We call ourselves Chocolate and Vanilla. It was a terrible show. But we had a great time.
Well, I'm so glad you mentioned all that, because that is exactly what I hope that our students have the opportunity to try to find their way and do lots of things like you did.
Yeah. I mean, you just do it all. That's all I can say is do it all, try it all. You quickly learn like yes or no, like you'll figure it out pretty quick. I knew after even trying reporting that I wasn't going to be an anchor. I was like, nope, this is not for me. I don't need all that kind of FaceTime. I don't want to hear myself talk. I'm good. But trying everything was the most beneficial, and it's benefited me in my career as well, because then I wasn't afraid to try things once I got into the career world. So try everything.
And now you have two children of your. Can you tell me a little bit about your children?
They are 2 and 8 months. So I have 2 under 2, and it's only quiet in here because they're at school. My oldest is Elias and my youngest is Ian. So Eli and Ian, we don't know what they're into yet besides Word Party, Coco Melon, all the things you find on Netflix, and Incredibles and race cars. That's all we got. But yeah, so they're adorable. They're very, very cute, 2 little people. They look just like me. Don't tell my husband because he thinks otherwise. But yeah, being a mom in this business is hard. Like, for instance, we just did our blood drive. I was on site at the Field Museum in Chicago from 4:30 a.m. and I left site. We struck down at 7 p.m. It was a long day because I covered all day parts. I did the mornings, the midday, the afternoon shows, and then 6 o'clock show was our last one. And then we did wrote a package and left it for the 10.
So I was going to ask you, how much are you able to work at home at all, or are you doing some kind of?
I am working. So only time I go out is to shoot something, or that was the first event that I've had to do. But we're all driving in separate cars. We meet at the shoot. You're required to do social distance. We do mic stands and mic rakes, and all that kind of stuff. So the guests will step to the mic. No more lavs, or anything of that nature, because you don't want to have to touch everybody. Or if we do have a lav, it is sanitized in person. So the person sees that you sanitized it. You're allowed to place it, they pick it up, and you instruct them how to put it on if you just feel like you really need a lot for whatever reason. And then when they're done, they place it, you take it, gloves on, clean it, put it away. So, which is adds so much time to your day. But yeah, so we still do in-person interviews, socially distant and all that kind of stuff. But I produce everything else at home. All my writing is at home. All my editing systems are at home. I shoot a little bit now. I have gear sitting next to me here on the floor. But I still have photographers and editors for a lot of different things. But yeah, I'm producing from home. Our line producers are producing from home. Our anchors have green screens and full backdrops from home. I never, if you had told me being in your class that you'll be able to produce from home one day, I would have laughed at you. Like, never. How am I going to have all that kind of stuff at home? I can't do it. But now it's like they're going to have to pull teeth to get me back in that building.
Right. Yeah.
It cuts down on my commute. And having 2 kids, it makes it a lot easier. Their school is walking distance from the house, and I can go check in on them and all that kind of stuff. But I don't miss commuting on the CTA at all. At all.
I don't blame you. Well, it's been so great to catch up with you. And I tell you, I don't get a chance to see, I don't know when the last time you were back in MACOM. It's never a convenient place to.
2010?
Oh, okay.
It's been a long time.
A long time. But I hope it's sometime in the future when everything is safe, I get a chance to meet your children.
Yeah, we'll have to bring them back on campus. This is where Mommy went to school, and make them wear purple polos just because.
We'll give them something, but not purple polos.
But yeah, I would love to bring them back one day and show them where I went to school and all that kind of stuff. I can't imagine how things will have changed even when all of this is over, how things have changed and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully I can bring them back, and there's lots of open space for them to run around. So.
Well, I just wanted to say I'm very happy for you, and I'm very proud of you. And I think of very fondly of those memories of us in the truck, along with all the other young people working so hard to put on a game. So.
Thank you. I have fond memories of those days at WIU, and I hope all the students there on the program do too once they're all done.
Okay, Marissa, thanks for agreeing to be a guest on the podcast. Make sure to join me next week when I catch up with another alumnus from this great university. Until then, take care and God bless.